What up and welcome to Rama Screen YouTube channel, and here's my review of Netflix new documentary series American Murder, Laci Peterson. Let's rock this. Okay, it has been 20 years since Skye Peterson got convicted, and it has been 20 plus years since the murder of his wife, Laci Peterson. And ever since that time, there had been plenty, and I mean plenty, of other documentaries made about this case. Plus, that cheesy TV movie, The Perfect Husband, starring that has-been Superman Dean Cain. Remember that one? So what I'm getting at is, this true crime story has been told and retold 1,000 times over. So why bring it up again now? Just because it's the 20th anniversary? Well, maybe the answer is yes. Precisely for that exact reason. And after having watched this entire new docu-series, I can tell you right now that this particular case is still just as fascinating now as it was 2 decades ago. This docu is hella absorbing. Of course, it's handled by somebody who knows what she's doing. Director Skye Borgman, who has made her bread and butter doing all kinds of true crime docus. And so the way that this one is compiled just captivates you from start to finish. American Murder, Laci Peterson is very well structured. It gets your brains all worked up, and it's absolutely intoxicating. From director Skye Borgman comes the definitive examination of the murder of Laci Peterson, the bubbly and beloved young woman who disappeared on Christmas Eve of 2002 while 8 months pregnant with her first child. The disturbing case captured the nation's attention, dominating news media night after night as facts slowly but surely led law enforcement to prosecute her husband, Skye Peterson, for her brutal murder, although he pleaded not guilty and maintains his innocence to this day. 20 years after Scott's conviction, this 3-part documentary series uses new clips, interrogation footage, and courtroom cameras to bring the dramatic disappearance, investigation, and trial into focus, alongside interviews with detectives, reporters, lawyers, and jurors recounting their experiences in real time. It also features a conversation with Amber Frey, the woman with whom Scott was living a double life at the time of Laci's disappearance, and whose willingness to participate with law enforcement led to major breakthroughs in the case. And for the very first time since Laci's heartbreaking death, her mother Sharon Rocha and a trio of her childhood friends speak candidly about their memories of Laci, the impact this shocking crime had on their lives, and their hopes that in coming forward to tell Laci's story for a new generation, they might empower other women experiencing intimate partner violence to escape a similarly tragic fate. So the first episode covers the early days of Laci's disappearance and a bit about Laci's background and a bit about Scott's background as well. And then it ends with the Amber Frey cliffhanger. And then the second episode picks up where that left off, and then it ends with Laci's body being found. And then, of course, the third episode is the courtroom trial and the sentencing and the conclusion. And all throughout these 3 episodes, they feature several talking heads, including Scott's siblings and the people in his life who, to this day, still think that he is innocent. I know, crazy, right? But hey, they are entitled to their beliefs and their opinions. Listen, I get it. It's easy to be angry at Scott's siblings. How dare you say he had nothing to do with Laci's murder? It's always the husband, goddammit. But that's one of the many things that made this case so interesting. That even though I have joined the many who do see those circumstantial evidence as damning, but as we all know, our justice system is not perfect. There had been many wrongfully convicted cases that were ultimately thrown out. Maybe because they found new traces of DNA or something. I don't know. Who the hell knows? But the point is, I don't think this documentary is meant to sow doubt in you, nor does it intend to leave it as open-ended like a 50-50 scenario. If anything, it invites us to get out of our own bubble and imagine what the shoes are like on the other foot. Those closest to Scott only knew him for who he was before all this happened. So them saying, There's no way Scott could have done this. Well, that's a human reaction. It's an understandable human reaction for anybody in their position. Now, the secret phone call recordings of Amber Fry and Scott Peterson are probably the juiciest part about all this. Maybe they had not been released to the general public until now, which is why you could categorize it as bombshell. But nonetheless, it's like suddenly you turn into a fly on the wall. And it's that crazy moment where you witness a pathological liar at work doing his thing, trying to wiggle his way out of his situations, trying to rationalize his lies, and score sympathy points with Amber along the way. It's so diabolical and devious, almost like a Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing. Even though there is still no direct hard evidence linking Scott to Laci's death, since Laci's body was found in such a bad condition, so everything in the courtroom was circumstantial. But still, I mean, who can listen to those tapes or those recordings and say, nope, it can't be him. It must have been those burglars next door who did it. Well, that's just inconceivable. This docu is comprehensive, it's riveting, it's heartbreaking, it's complete, it's thorough. I don't think it's far-fetched to call it the ultimate docu above all docus about Laci Peterson. Those of us who are millennials know this case by heart, but maybe it's important for the Gen Zs to discover it as well. And what better way to do that than through what Skye Borgman has masterfully put together here. By the end of it, you feel such heavy emotion because, yeah, justice is served, but there's no real winner here. Lives were ruined. An infant died along with his mother. And the docu consistently emphasizes the trail of devastation that this case unfortunately leaves behind. So yeah, overall I give American Murder Laci Peterson the rating of 4 out of 5. And look, final thing, I don't mean to be an asshole, and maybe it's because I'm old-fashioned, but guys, you gotta have those discussions early on. You know, those discussions about whether or not your partner are on the same page about wanting to have children. Don't wait until after you get married for those red flags to finally show up. But hey, that's just my 2 cents on it.